Hey guys, it's me, Marty, and we are back to part 2. I think this is actually one of my first 2-part videos. Neat. I am reacting to a video. There's a part 1. I'm going to have that pop up. I think it's on this side. I think. If not, it's on this side. In the eye in the sky. It'll have me in there. And it'll be in the description bar. So you guys can check that out. What I'm doing is I am reacting to a video that I was arguing with somebody on a Facebook post about trans stuff and why they were telling me that transitioning is not the proper care for gender dysphoria, that you need to do other things, and that the transgender suicide rate is so high because of people who regret transitioning and all these other things. And so I am reacting to it, and this is his entire source. His entire source is this 27-minute long documentary from a YouTube channel called RT Documentary, Russian Times. I think it's Russian Times. I don't know why I did the air quotes. That's what it is. And it's called I Want My Sex Back. Detransition transgender people who regret changing sex. Whew, that is a mouthful. So where we left off, we've already heard from 2 people who talked about their things. You guys can go watch it. I'm not going to recap it all. And now we are up to Walt Heyer. I knew I didn't like this guy from the beginning, and now that I saw that it's a lot higher, I totally understand why. And it's just, he's extremely vocal and damaging to the community because I'll just let him tell his story, and yeah.
I don't want to get in there. So why would you tell your neighbor that you did something that was so stupid? It's absolutely ridiculous to tell a neighbor, hey, I was a transgender and I've detransitioned. Pretty embarrassing to go through a gender change, to be that stupid, to believe that you can actually change genders. You got to be pretty ill-equipped to handle the truth.
He does realize that he's saying that about himself, like,
I was born in Los Angeles to a good family, good people. I was taken to my grandmother's house quite frequently as my parents liked to go away on the weekend. They liked to camp and fish. I somehow became interested at my grandma's house in cross-dressing, and I had mentioned something to her about that. So she decided to make me a purple dress and allow me to put it on and wear the dress. I finally got so interested and excited about wearing the dress that I got tired of waiting till I was going to go to Grandma's house to secretly cross-dress. So I snuck the dress home. Well, my mom found the dress. And so then Dad got upset. I was never allowed to go to Grandma's house again. The first step was I changed my name secretly when I was about 13 years old to Crystal. Probably in my late 20s. I started to talk to doctors about hormone therapy, and I began to take hormone therapy. 35 years ago, there wasn't much information, and we concluded that based on everything that was available at the time, that undergoing hormone therapy, further hormone therapy, and gender reassignment surgery would be the answer to resolve this, quote, gender identity disorder. That's when in April of 1983, I underwent the gender reassignment surgery by Dr. Biber in Trinidad, Colorado.
So based off of the information available 35 years ago, what we know now should change. Like, from what I remember from his story, because I've read other words like his story, that before he went on hormones, he just talked to his doctor and he didn't go through therapy at all. His doctors were just like, yeah, that's the proper process, and he never went through therapy. And now his beliefs are, if you feel this way, you just need to go through therapy and it'll fix everything because it fixed him. And so that's how he sees it. I kind of spoiled his story, but it's just, I don't know. It's really pissing me off already because he's already like comparing how things were so long ago. And this was this was posted 3 months ago. So yeah, 35 years ago, I think is what he said, or 37. And it's been a long time. So much has changed since then. I wouldn't be able to watch this video back then. You wouldn't have been able to have this video recorded, and you wouldn't have been able to, like, Walt Heyer would not have been able to see this video himself, like, unless it was, like, on special TV, which it would not have been. Like, you couldn't talk about this stuff. We know so much more now, and I don't know, we're going to just continue on before I rant.
It was amazing. I felt like the world had been lifted from my shoulders, and it was all really wonderful. The only thing I don't know is, was it all the medication from 5 hours of surgery that made me feel this way, or was it because I'd gone through the surgery? Because you're pretty heavily medicated. My female name at the time was Laura Jensen.
Okay, so with Walt, it sounds like pretty much, yeah, they told him his doctors were the people who diagnosed him, and it sounds like honestly he got given really bad information back when nobody really knew things. Like, it seems like his doctors told him, okay, this is the way that'll make you feel better, and they instantly put into a plan of hormones, SRS, without any, like, at least that's the way that he words it. Maybe he'll go into further detail, but as of right now, that's how he words it. Remember, this is a reaction video, so I'm talking about it as I'm watching it, so my opinion may change, but that's how it seems, is like he just went straight into that, and there was nothing in between of, like, therapy, having to live as female. But this is why the gatekeeping process is there, is to make sure that you are ready and know that you are doing what you want before you transition. That's why I think there's a lot less regret rates, and the people who do regret are people who rush through it and don't really think about it or know the right things to say, because, like, the double-edged sword about trans people talking about their trans experience is it helps people who genuinely are going through it relate. And that's a good and great thing. But now it also tells people or shows people who aren't really trans but are just hopping on the bus the things to say and the stories to tell. It's something that I guess now makes the gatekeeping even harder too, because now people can circumvent it. But I think as they go on, it will get, it'll be a more time delayed process too. It's not like they could just hop on hormones and, go a year and then go to surgery. Like, they have to go a good while of time. I don't know, like, I have a lot of opinions on, like, all of that, and that'll be a whole nother video before I rant for way too long. But yeah, I think in Walt Heyer's case, I honestly think his situation is the fact that he didn't have all of that gatekeeping there.
Lompoc is a nice town. It's quiet and it's small. I was a little bit apprehensive going into surgery, but also a little excited too. Finally, we're at this point. And after going into surgery and then coming out of surgery and being in the elevator, I asked somebody, is it gone? And they assured me that it was gone. And I was very relieved. I was losing a lot of blood through the surgical site. What they did was kept putting gauze into my new vagina, but I was excited. I was excited that finally this is done. This is now behind me. So now I'm starting my new life.
I never had the full ability to have intercourse because the vagina that they make is so small. So anytime I tried to have intercourse, it was extremely painful and it wouldn't happen. So these surgeries are nothing more than plastic surgery. They don't create, the phalluses that they create for female to males are really hideous looking. I've had several female to male friends, and you look at it and you just go, oh God, you paid for that, it's horrible. The sex change didn't solve my discomfort. The doctors who are honest will say that the gender dysphoria is always there. And it's because the confusion is, it's not so much, it starts out being about your anatomy, but really what you don't like yourself.
These two, theirs are both like just sad because it sounds like they just especially with her, like the more I hear, it sounds like she just had bad results. And same with the person prior, I still am not sure on their pronouns. This is like sad. It sucks that like she had, like obviously it sounds like she had really bad results. And I mean, yeah, at this point, I think everybody knows, like I said earlier, transitioning, I think I said it in the previous video, I'm going to say it again here. Transitioning won't make your dysphoria completely go away. You have to work on other things. Like it will help ease it, and it could help make it pretty much go away to the point that you barely ever deal with it, but there will be times that it will always creep up. On hormones, like it made it go away considerably, but at the same time not, if that makes sense. And I know that it'll probably be the same way once I eventually get surgery. I will still have some sense of dysphoria because not everything, you know, can be changed and fixed. And it's something that it's not to help make it go away. It's to help ease it. And I mean, hey, if it makes it go away for some people, that's fucking awesome. I mean, I hope it makes it go away for me, but it probably won't. And that's the reality of it. But dealing with, you know, your other problems on top of that, that was like an important thing. It sucks so that she's like spreading this like, oh, the surgeries aren't that good, because in most recent things, like you could look up almost any YouTuber our age that has had surgery recently within even the past 5 years, and they all say everything completely different, and it sounds like it's gotten to the point that it's even better. And like, I hate that they're using this old information to like prove their point. And I also hate that like somebody who like it seems like is still very much part of the community is like spreading problems for it, like, and she should know how it is. And like, I don't know, we're gonna continue on.
Being a freak in society, being, I call it in my book, a social pariah, is not the way you want to live. The isolation drives you to despair. And so, yeah, suicide is a big, big thing.
I kind of get the isolation and the loneliness feeling to a point, but at the same time, in this day and age, that's not really an issue. There's so many groups. I have so many trans friends on Facebook and YouTube. I have people that I can watch on YouTube that I can relate to. And even if I can't physically talk to them, I no longer feel alone because I'm like, there's somebody else out there that I can watch and relate to that's dealing with what I'm dealing with. And again, I feel like a lot of this is using people who transition. I mean, obviously they are. They're using people who transitioned 30, 40 years ago, and they're basing off of their experience then and not now, and now everything has improved better. And I think that's the issue. Like, I feel like if they made this with new people, it would be a lot different. Like, I feel like there would be a lot more different reasons, but I feel like this day and age it would be really different. And like, I'm curious about like the stories of people who have like detransition in like recent times, and like how that was and why they did, because I'm just curious, because I want to understand that. And not many people like are open to talking about it because they're scared to, because it's demonized. And like, I understand why it is, but at the same time I understand there are situations where you have to detransition. But I feel like these situations that they're using are very like old cases that really don't match today's standard of things. Like, they might regret it because, you know, back then, but like most trans people that I see that have talked about it are people that they don't have regrets on it. They've been years on it and they're fine. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm just curious on like how, if it's like different nowadays than it was in these days, like when these people transitioned, with the reason why people do transition. Yeah, sorry, let's continue.
Maybe you can remember exact day when you thought about committing suicide, and how did you stop yourself?
Yesterday, I don't know. The first time was right before the surgery in 1990. And the only thing that kept me from doing it, quite honest, is I'm a coward at heart.
Just was so deeply disturbed At the time, I wanted to end my life, and somebody I knew had some cocaine, so I attempted to use it to kill myself. And it obviously didn't work, but my heart was pounding so hard after I took it that I thought it was going to come out of my chest.
I like how they like vaguely show, like, on the other one, it's in a town like this. It's somewhere in Arizona, like, I don't know why, or maybe it's just for, like, area context, but it's still weird the way that it's worded. I don't know. Maybe it's because it was translated from, or it was Russian to English or whatever.
I feel safer having done that and not staying in one place very long where people might find out what I do and who I am. I don't want people to know that are around me. I don't want to be outed by the people around me. I was leaving church one day on Sunday, 3-4 years ago now, and I got an email that said, "I'm ready to commit suicide. Can you help me?" And it was a transgender who had lived the transgender life for 2 or 3 years and was totally discouraged with it. I was actually exchanging information and talking with him on some level up to 5 times a day to keep him from committing suicide. He eventually restored his life. He detransitioned back. This is my entire office right here. My computer, my desk, my chair, my slippers, and this is where I sit and work. I don't need any more than this. Everything that I do is right here on the computer or on the phone talking to people. I've detransitioned now for 25 years, a little longer. And so it was when I detransitioned that everything began to make sense to me. And when I realized that how important it was to detransition to become psychologically, emotionally, and socially a healthy person, that I wanted others who wanted to detransition to have a way to come back to that same experience that I have. And if they have regret and want to detransition, I've built a website for them, sexchangeregret.com. How are you?
Doing good today, doing good. How about you and KC?
Yeah, we're doing good. Billy contacted me by email like most people do, and we began to exchange information, and I talked to him on the phone. His story was just like mine. He was sexually abused. I was sexually abused, and that was kind of the trigger point of changing genders.
I feel like with these, especially with like the way that they keep referencing to it, I mean, they straight up say that it had to do with what happened to them when they were kids. And it sounds like it's something that like they avoided taking care of that by transitioning, which that's not something you can do. I know sometimes that might feel like a good way out or something, but it's not something that you can like do to avoid it. You gotta like face it and deal with it, and it's hard, but that's like something, because like you can't ever like get over that trauma by doing, transitioning and shit like that. That's not going to fix anything. That's only going to add more to your mental distress. But yeah, this is like a really heavy note to end this on. So yeah, anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you guys. We're going to wrap this up in the next part. Yeah, bye.